Now we're going to paint a green sunfish. Okay, the first thing we do is seal the fish with Basecoat Sealer. Sand and sealer will work. You might have to wait a little bit longer. Basecoat Sealer dries within a few minutes, depending on what the weather's like outside. So you just put a good coat of Basecoat Sealer all over the fish. Any place that's going to see paint, you want a good coat of it. The belly, the back, everything. And I'll show you what we do next. Now we'll go ahead and wipe the fish. I've got off-white. Do the back as well. About a medium coat, I guess. I mean, we're going to incorporate everything back in anyway, so just make sure it's good and white. Now I've got white pearl, and just pearl over all your white real good. Watch that pearl grow on there. I've got a Q-tip with a lacquer thinner on it, and I just basically just put a little bit on there. Roll it one time in a paper towel. You don't want it to drip. And then go ahead and clean your eye off. This is bright yellow. Cadmium yellow is the same thing. Different company, I think. But I'm going to go ahead and put a good coat on the fish. I guess about a medium coat all over. Heavier on the bottom and maybe lighter as you go up. That's probably a good way to do it. But there's yellow all over the fish. Make sure you get a good coat on the fins. Belly gets it. Even on a finished fish, you see traces of yellow. Even the lower jaw. The head. When the fish turns, you see yellow on a lot of these fish, so it's there to a degree on the whole fish. But on a finished fish, you'll see it right through here. So I would say that would be a good bet to make sure you put it, you know, a decent coat right there. Of course, you want the pearl to shine through, so and do the whole fish like this. Heck, even the lips. The belly, you get the belly real good. Turn your fish if you have to, turn it upside down. But get that done, and I'll show you what we do next. Now we've got a little bit of flesh. I see this. I see it a little bit in certain areas. So like right here in the gill flap, around the ear area, just a misting of it. Not the lower jaw, but like just right in this area. It seems like even the midsection, you can't really see it because the fins, this fin right here is blocking a lot of it. It seems just like in the midsection, just a hair. I mean, you can't hardly notice it. And it's not killing out the yellow. I mean, you can't even hardly tell it. I went a little heavier than I wanted to. Right here in front of the base of this fin, it gets it. And that's about the extent of it, just like super light. Good thing the ear flap's going to cover a lot of this right here that's a little bit too dark. But that's about right. I may extend some of it up into here. This flesh is opaque though, because it's got some white in it, you know, so just keep that in mind. Let me go a little bit over the top of the fins with it. That's what I've got so far. Maybe a little on the nose. And it's on so light, it's a little bit like an orange anyway. Don't like the idea of going down on the belly. I plan on going over that with a little bit of orange or something. Well, I'm going to show you what we do next. Just vaguely in the midsection, I mean to the point where you can't hardly even tell it. And you might even want to go back over with yellow to, if you're a little bit loud with it, you can go back over with yellow to kind of lighten it back up. But I'll show you what to do next. Now I've got my medium green. Make sure your spray's good and adjusted. And I'm going to go I'm going to put some even on the fins. Basically, this is to complement the next color, which is going to be black green. That's what I'm going to use for darkening the head and the back and everything. So basically, I'm just setting up for that color. Well, every fish has got green, so you see it in all my reference pictures. It seems like it fades out just above the pectoral, because I see a lot of yellow right up in here even. On this picture, I see yellow all the way up in there, so I know it doesn't go on super heavy. But it's called green sunfish for a reason. Seems to be some flesh around in the face, but it definitely shows green even down into the lower cheek, but not completely at the bottom of the cheek. That's where the flesh shows, right in here. But you're dealing with a lot of reflection from the camera. A lot of the colors we try to incorporate are really flip-flop colors anyway. So it's trying to get that general median is what we're trying to do. And make sure you get the back with the same amount of intensity. It's probably better to leave these bottom fins as yellow as you possibly can. I wouldn't even put no medium green on these down here. It's going to be darker on the back. I'm going to re-white the lower fins and the very bottom of the belly, and the reason is I want it just solid yellow. At least the fins. I'm going to do at least the fins, make them good solid yellow, and a little bit of the belly. Kind of want to hold true to the thought that the bottom fins are basically yellow. So now the good thing about this white, that flesh color I was trying to achieve, it works. See how it's going over the yellow, and it's making flesh. It's making the flesh color that I was trying to get. This is what I'm getting at. Don't want to get too carried away with it. That milky look a lot of times that you see on fish, sometimes people put it on their fish, their smallmouth. You know, a lot of the fish have a kind of a milky look, like their colors are slightly faded. And it's the way they do that is they'll stand from a distance and spray white over the entire fish. And I know some people do their smallmouth that way, and it creates a little bit of depth. And a lot of them have that milky kind of look to them, I guess is the right way to say it. And I might want to leave a little bit of a fleshy look because it's there. And these fins are going to make them just solid white. I went ahead and whited the belly, and I even pearled it again. The fins, and I've got my bright yellow again. The thing of it is this bright yellow is transparent. It's not really opaque, so it's really hard to get a. And I want to stick to the fact that they're yellow. I mean, We incorporate white in there as well. But yeah, there's a definite yellow color there, so we want to, you know, I'm not going to kill out the flesh that was put on there. But I want to hold true to my reference pictures. And that being that the bottom fins are yellow, at least on the older ones, you know, the real old ones, the big ones, they've got just a solid yellow fin with it trimmed in white, and the leading edge of the pelvic fins are white, but thinking about like that. You know, still maintain some of the fleshy looking areas. These gill rays that are sticking out, I have a tendency to want to paint those white on most of my other fish. As you can see, there's still a fleshy color in there. And now I'm going to go to black green and start darkening the back and stuff. Now there's some bars, you can barely see the bars, but they're there. From the spiny dorsal, from the front of the spiny dorsal to the end of the soft dorsal, believe it or not, there's 7 bars. So on a little fish like this, they're really light. And then there's like 2 more in front and then 2 more in the back. But the ones in front, they don't come down past the top of the head. In other words, they don't come down into the gills or anything. They just come down so far. But we're going to incorporate that in, and I'm going to make a few passes first, I think, before I even put the details in, to get a kind of a darkness of the back. Now I've got black green, and what I'm wanting to do is darken the back, fade down, and by about halfway be almost completely faded out. Definitely before you get to the belly, you want it to be completely faded out. You even want maybe a little bit of the yellow to show underneath. Now I've got black green, and I'm going to darken around the mouth and everything. The darkest part of the fish, except for like the dark spot on the gills and the 2 dark spots on the anal and the soft dorsal fin. As far as the body goes, the top of the head, before you get to the spiny dorsal, is about the darkest part on the fish. Try to adjust your spray accordingly, but I'll start right here on the end of the lip, and just like with a bass or anything, bring it down, let that overspray, hit the front of your maxillary, and then it comes to a point right here. Do that there, do that there. And if you have to touch up later, that's alright too. I do that just about on every fish I'm out. Make sure you kind of go around get this little place right here, and right in here is about the darkest part right there. And I'm going to readjust the fish so we can get the back a little bit better. I want the darkness of the back to fade out before you get to the ladder line. I mean, as far as darkening the back, you want to phase out before you get to the lateral line. But the color itself, we're going to use it again to incorporate the slight barring pattern that you see, which you can see it. So basically, right along the very top of the back, even hit the dorsals a little bit at their bases. You see I've done that. If you're going to angle spray right now is a good time to do it. The angle spraying is a good way to bring a little life to the fish and get the darkness you want to achieve. But definitely you want to see about like that. From the extreme frontal angle is even better. Okay, and while we're like that, we're going to go ahead and get the fins. In this case, we've got the, we're just going to highlight them real good. We definitely want to make sure that the darkest part of the fish is right there on the back. Bring those fins out real good. And you can see I'm bringing the details out real good. And the tail. And you go from the bottom and get some of the bottom rays, make sure they're good and dark. Get these fins as well. Just a good spray just to bring out them fin rays real good from an extreme frontal angle. Okay, now there's some dark bars that come down. This one's not black green again, but now there's some dark bars that between the soft dorsal, well, first of all, there's some spots right back here. It's not wrong to go ahead and incorporate those in. There's one there, and then one here right at the base. That's where they're at right there. Right there at the corner of the base. Between here and here is 7 of them. You might want to, okay, there's that one. Put one about right in the middle. But they're so bright you can't hardly see them. 3, 4, there's one right there. One right there. One, there's that one, and that one. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. There we are. That's how it looks. And some of them, it looks really pronounced. There's two bars right here at the top of the head, but they only come down to about as far as they get, about right there. They don't even go no further than that. And sometimes you don't even see them. That's how light they are. I mean, super light. And there's like maybe another one there and another one there. That's what it looks like, about like that. And we'll go ahead and darken the back a little bit more. I think I might angle spray a little bit, try to kind of blend those bars in a little bit better. And right here, I just wanted to make sure the fins are how I like them before what I'm going to do is we're going to brighten the edges of the fins back up, and I may have to tone them back in with more black green. It's possible. So I'm just wanting to make sure they're dark enough. I think they are. You could probably use a Sharpie pen for this, or you can just be real steady with it, and there you are. That ought to be good enough. Oh, I have to darken the mid cheek and mid gill flap needs to be a little bit darker. Otherwise, my turquoise streaks that I'm going to put on a little bit later, they won't even show up on top of such a bright color. So I'm going to go ahead and incorporate that just for a better looking fish. Little place on the maxillary. I don't know, I do it to all my perch, so I just don't want to leave this one out. I mean, it's a little going virtually unnoticed, but I just want to darken the maxillary up a little bit. There we are. I've got my yellow ochre again. And it's what I'm going to do is, let me get the paint going. There it goes. Go right along the outside of it. And look at your reference pictures and see if you see this. now we're going to trim the outer edges with white. Okay, now I've got my white. Just my spray here. I'm going just on the very outer extremity. There you go. Oh shit. Oh, God. And do the same to the other pelvic fin. Can't see it with all the glare, but I'm just getting a bite of the very end of it here. Just the very end of it. And to show you what we're going to do next. I've got my yellow ochre again. I mean, not my yellow ochre, my bright yellow. I've got my bright yellow. Now there is a little bit of white trimming that I see on these, but it's just so hard to really kind of get that I'm going to leave it be for the most part. In other words, I'm trimming the white with yellow. Now there's also, a little bit of orange. I went ahead and put in a little bit of orange. I'm going to leave those through there white. But I think I'm going to get this yellow. It looks yellow from what I've seen. Although I'm sure it gets white too. A lot of it is what you see. A lot of it's just a reflection, of what you see. So I'm going to go ahead and get them and just leave them. Make sure the belly's good. A lot of the marks I see don't carry back this far, so I'm going to take some of them out. Yeah, about right there. And then on this one, kind of the same thing. Of course, it probably depends on the reference picture too. But, so that's kind of what I got going on right there. That looks a little better. Yeah, it ends about right up there, then up here about the same place. Ends about right there. I'll show you what we do next. That was with my black green, of course. It gets white around the opercle, you know, the gill flap, that black spot. We're going to get white around that, and then we're going to, right now we just go right white around it. And the rest of it I'm going to use turquoise. Oh, I'm going to have to do better than that. That's okay, I'll let it dry and then I'll put the black part back. And that's going to have to work. One thing I see on virtually every sunfish is a mark that goes under the eye. You can see it. You can see it right here. You can see it in this painting. You can see it in this one. It's the same thing. It's just like a little mark goes below the eye. But there's usually a little bit even on the, looks like a little on the maxillary right in the front here. So I'm going to incorporate that in. Strand that comes out right above the maxillary and goes all the way to the end of the cheek, roughly. The thinner the line, the more realistic it's going to look. You want to connect them all, but you want to put them in there. And but I'll do that for a while and I'll show you what I have. I could spend a lot of time putting those marks in, but you need a real fine brush and a lot of patience, and they'd have to be paying a lot more than just that commercial price for it. So a lot of people will stop right here. Now I've got a mixture of yellow and orange. I'm going to put that in a little bit better. May have to make a couple of runs over it. It's almost too orange. Now I've got it's supposed to be kind of like a flesh color, but I think that's going to work. It's anywhere between a red-orange flesh to even a white color. So I'm just going to leave it at that. I've got some Basecoat Sealer. Just kind of want to go over the fish, see what I kind of got, what it looks like. And I'll go back with a gloss top coat. Okay, now what I did get a little bit of slight little missing a turquoise pearl. Now I know it's not the same as actually putting the streak, you know, those pretty streaks in and all that stuff. But I went ahead and put some on the fins and the upper half of the body. I just, you know, just a quick spray. I just got my min wax and the turquoise pearl's coming out real good. You know, it takes a place of having the complication of trying to, helps just go ahead and throw some pearl on there. You get the same bluish effect. Well, the turquoise pearl was about the best thing I could have done. I don't know if you can see it, but I've got it on the upper back. And I even put some on the cheeks. And even see the some of the sparkle of the turquoise. You can see it on the back. So that's kind of replacing what I didn't do with the brush, I guess you could say. All the little small turquoise marks. The least I could have done is throw some turquoise pearl, you know, give that little turquoise sparkle to it. But this is how I paint a green sunfish.